With me today, I have the team behind ABC's new legal drama For Life. Please welcome Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, executive producer, and executive producer creator, Hank Steinberg. So before we jump into the conversation, let's throw it to the clips.
Everything all right?
Yeah, fine. No Darius today?
No, he wanted to be here day one, but he didn't want to be a distraction to you. When this is over, he's got some things he wants to talk to you about.
You switch judges? More than someone who's gunning for me?
Come on, that's got nothing to do with us. Governor makes judicial appointments. You don't like it, move for an adjournment.
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Reginald Cummings presiding.
Counselors, you may be aware that the governor has elevated Judge Sorensen to the appellate division. I'll be presiding over all further proceedings in this matter. I've already reviewed your briefs and transcripts of the opening statement, so let's get to it. Mr. Wallace.
Police and the DEA, under the directive of the district attorney's office, were staking out my club for months before they start pulling people over and searching them. Stop and frisk becomes, find a dime bag becomes, finger me off a single photo ID. If you ask someone who's been arrested with a bag of coke in their pocket, scared out of their minds if this is the guy, of course they're gonna say yes. There was no exigency, no reason they couldn't have pulled me in for a lineup.
And tip off they were onto you?
They could have used a six-pack instead. What they did was use the process.
Mr. O'Reilly, are you conceding that the NYPD did use a single photo to identify Mr. Wallace?
In certain instances, yes.
Call your witnesses, Mr. Wallace. Let's hear the specifics.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So let's just start with the genesis of the project. Can you guys just talk about how everything came together?
Well, I initially met Isaac Wright Jr. through a mutual friend. They had a boxing club, an illegal boxing club in the Bronx. And I wouldn't go because I was currently a licensed promoter in the state of Nevada, working with Floyd on TMT Boxing. So what they had to legalize it, so they had to find an attorney that would go through the technical areas and find a way for me to make it to the event. And that attorney was Isaac Wright Jr. And he came in, and following him straightening that situation out, he told me his story, and I was listening to him, and I was blown away by it. I was thinking the whole time, I was Googling to see if it was actually true, because I had never heard of a situation like that where you represented yourself and gave back 70 years plus life. And sure enough, it was a true story. And from there, because initially he had an idea to create a feature film, but I said it's not a film, it's a television show, because there's no way that you can put that journey into 2 hours and do it justice. You need more time to convey what that was about.
Hank, what did you think of Isaac's story when you first heard of it? What were your initial thoughts?
Well, I was very fortunate enough to have 50 and our partners, Doug Robinson and Allison Greenspan, bring the project to me. And I just was so moved by Isaac's story, inspired by it. I thought it was a really intriguing way to get at the problems in our criminal justice system, in our penal system, to explore the inequities in them, and to do it through a very, very personal story, an underdog story. And I thought I'd never seen that idea of this lawyer he's half lawyer, half prisoner, and he's got one hand tied behind his back. And I saw it as being a really interesting, moving way to get at something that could also have a message, but be really emotional, draw people in, get them to really care about Aaron, who's playing Aaron Wallace is the main character, is inspired by Isaac, and also have it kind of sneak up on you, which is on network TV, which is, you think it's a legal procedural, and it's actually not. He happens to be a lawyer, and that gives you engine for story, but it's really a long serialized show about a guy who wants to get his freedom, who's using the law. And the way that we use the cases in the show is, It's not a nine beat story with these crazy twists and turns. It's 3 or 4 beats, but they're very emotional, and you feel the stakes for Aaron and for his clients.
And this show, it deals with a lot of topical and timely issues, not just justice reform, but also family dynamics, ambition, hope. Why was it so important for you guys to marry all these elements together for the show?
Well, all three individual styles that are put into this actual project are hits. The procedural portion of it, the family drama is a hit, the danger of the prison drama is a hit. And you take all three of those elements you put it in the hands of Hank, and the writer is just that talented. It'll bring you you come out on the end of a whole nother roller coaster, because it's like you get to a peak point and you really enjoying the procedural point, and it shifts, and then you start to find yourself immersed in the family drama, and then there's the action of the prison when Cassius comes in. I play Cassius Clark, a reoccurring character on the show, and there's the element of danger and the reality of people who become institutionalized, spending too much time incarcerated, and not having even a urge to go home because they've accomplished more within the penal system than in society. So
The stories really balance each other out, and they play off of each other in a really interesting way. In the writers' room, we have our cars. Each has a different color, and green was for prison, and white was for his case, and pink was for the family story, and we had so many different colors as we were meshing them together, but they really play off each other in terms of his quest is to get out of prison, and that touches and reverberates on the family. And then family can never understand what his life is like in the prison. So he's trying to get back to them, but there's a whole part of him, this whole other identity of himself that he's created that they don't even understand. And he doesn't understand what their life was really like. He knows what it used to be like. And then you have, the legal cases that he's learning about the system. He's learning about how the system is abused. And he's also learning, he's a very resourceful character, how to manipulate the system himself and use some of their tricks against them. And so the three storylines, and then we also have the political storyline of an election running against it, and the character of the warden, played by Indira Varma, who's trying to reform the prison system, which is a whole other storyline. The hardest part was fitting every episode into 42 minutes. We would get there, and at the end of breaking an outline, I think, wow, that's going to be 65 minutes. How do we crunch it? But we managed to find a way, and I think it makes it really rich.
For a show like this, that, like I said before, deals with such timely and topical issues, what kind of impact do you hope it might have in our current society? What do you hope people will take away from it?
I think I hope it allows people to be entertained first, and just the information that's in it to make them even more interested in the topics that are running, because we don't want to turn it into a full-blown educational program. We want you to watch it and enjoy it, and then to understand that this is something that is based on a true story. It was really important that I was able to say it's based on Isaac Wright Jr.'s life. When we went through the whole process, there was a point where with Sony, we were going back and forth with whether we were going to say it's based on a true story. And I was like, the importance of that is the intensity goes up times 10 when you watch it and knowing that this actually happened. This is an experience that you can have a procedural show, but 90% of the time it's not going to be an attorney who's learned the law under circumstances where the system itself is criminal, where it feels like the system itself is criminal. So there's that point where your criminal defense attorney would say, right and wrong doesn't matter, just tell me exactly what happened and let me do what I can do. It becomes an absolute real thing, because it's like they're going to do what they're going to do, so let me see and do what I can. It's just not really right. They end up in that gray area where it's not right or wrong. It's what can you prove.
Yeah, I mean, and for me, I want people to be engaged emotionally, just like in any drama, and I want them to lean in. I want them to care, and then I want them to gradually, slowly learn and ask questions and go, "Is that real?" And let them look it up. But we're not trying to change the world. We're not trying to change the system by having one show, but we're trying to explore an issue, through these amazing characters and have people engage with it. And then from there, I think, the progress can be made, and when people get educated about something, then things can change.
Well, thank you so much, guys, for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for doing this.
Absolutely.